This is the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show, a weekly broadcast that breaks down each Eagles game better than anyone else. The Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show is broadcasting live from the Great American Pub in Conshohocken and is heard on both 1490 WBCB and 107.3 FM and is brought to you by SEPTA, Fogo de Show, the Great American Pub, Independence Blue Cross, and Grand Cafe L'Aquila. We now go live to the Great American Pub in Conshohocken for the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show. Now, here are your hosts, Paul Domowitch and Paul Jolovitz.
All righty, everybody. Welcome to the season premiere of the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show right here on 1490 WBCB and 107.3 FM. We are thrilled to be at our new home for this season, the beautiful Great American Pub in Conshohocken. Thank you to Chuck and Jerry and Guy and everybody here for being so accommodating for us. It should be a great place for us. We'd love you to stop by anytime, Paul Domowitch, and you're looking forward to a big year?
Good to be back with you, Jolly.
Good to be back with you. A couple things to say right away before we start and introduce our guest. Number one, I'm sure all of us here share this. 22 years we will never forget. Nothing more needs to be said today on September 11th. And we lost my longtime co-host, Mr. Tom Cardella, this year. Passed away over the summer. May he rest in peace, and Dama, you got a big legacy to carry on.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about Tom. I never had a chance to meet him, but may he rest in peace.
May he rest in peace. You got it. Our guest tonight is a terrific guest. We always start with a biggie. He played, what was it, quarterback? Did he play? He was a great middle linebacker for the Philadelphia Eagles. Probably should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Number 66 in our hearts, number 66 in Kelly Green. He comes here, he's battling cancer and then fighting right through it, winning the battle. Good for you, Bubba. Mr. Bill Bergey.
Well, thank you. Thank you much. And, Paul, I got to tell you that Tom Cardella and I did a lot of radio shows together, and he was one of a kind. He was a great, great guy.
Yep, he sure was, and so are you. Give us, I don't know if you want to do this or not. You didn't say you didn't want to talk about anything at all. Give us a little health update on you. People are concerned, and people want to hear that you're doing well.
Well, I am cancer-free now. I had 2 operations. Jim Kelly of the Buffalo Bills, he had half of his jaw taken out, and he was like my inspiration, told me that you got to just fight it the best you can, and he helped me out an awful lot, and I really thank him for that. But missing a few teeth outside of that, I'm really mending now, and I feel a lot better about it than I did maybe 6 months or a year ago.
That's great.
That's terrific. Teeth weren't knocked out in your NFL career, but now you're losing teeth, huh?
The cancer took my teeth.
Well, the linebacking situation, Bill, with the Eagles, today we hear Nakobe Dean hurt his foot, was in a walking boot after the game. We don't know exactly what's wrong, but Nick Sirianni said it'll be a few weeks. Placed on IR. That means at least 4 weeks. They signed Rashad Evans, who played with Atlanta last year. They have Zach Cunningham, who was signed over the summer. Christian Ellis has been here about 4 days. No, he's here through training camp. The linebacking position, kind of like the running back of the defense, is being de-emphasized these days. But the Eagles, I think, have a problem in the middle of the field defensively after what we saw yesterday. Do you agree with that?
Well, yeah, I do agree with that. And I got to tell you, the position of linebackers are becoming obsolete. They're right now they're like thoroughbreds as far as defensive backs go. There'll be a defensive back that may weigh 220 pounds and he can run like the wind, and those are the kind of guys that they're going for. But the linebackers are just about becoming obsolete, Paul.
Yeah, you can't blame their linebackers totally for the problems they had in the middle yesterday. A lot of it was the safeties who didn't play well. A couple of touchdowns. I mean, Reed Blankenship gave up the one.
And Bradbury
gave up the other.
Who's out, by the way, Thursday night also.
Yeah, so there was enough blame to go around. But like Bill said, I mean, linebackers everywhere on every team are positioned. They're not getting the money anymore.
No.
They're not. Teams are finding ways to play around that position.
Bubba, the rush linebackers, that's a huge position now in the NFL. You're Hassan Reddick. The Eagles drafted Nolan Smith in the first round. Do you think of them as defensive ends, linebackers, hybrids? How do you think of that kind of player?
I kind of feel like they're defensive ends.
Yeah.
They just try to stir things up and make things happen. But
rush the passer.
As far as the guys like Dick Butkus, Ray Nixie, those type of guys, there's no longer any of them anymore.
And one of them, unfortunately, just passed away. The Eagles, Maxie Bond, just passed away a couple weeks ago as well. Yep.
I didn't know that.
What did you play at weight-wise?
I played at 250.
Yeah, there is no 250 linebacker in the league anymore.
No, there aren't.
At least off-ball linebackers. So.
All right, let's take a little litmus test, Damo. We have a nice crowd here. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Yesterday, the Eagles game inspired a lot of memories and a lot of emotions in a lot of people. To me, I didn't expect anything because they hadn't played in preseason. I expected slop, got slop in many cases. Certain people played well. Thought the coaches had some problems. How many people, by applause, were happy with what they saw with the Eagles yesterday? How many weren't? All right. It's a mixed bag, Bubba. What did you think yesterday with first game in New England, Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, the whole factor?
Well, first of all, the bottom line is if you win the game, that's all there is to it.
A win is a win.
A win is a win,
yep.
And they got it done. And I think that New England played better than the Philadelphia Eagles, but the Eagles, they got a couple of key turnovers in the most opportune time, and I think they got lucky, and they ought to just take a deep breath and say, okay, now let's go on to the Vikings and go from. And you know, by the way, I never liked playing in New England.
Why?
For some reason, it was just in my head, and I could never play a good football game in New England.
Damo, I never played a good game in New England either, or anywhere else.
Yeah. You know, I mean, Nick, I was surprised after the game. He admitted, second-guessed himself on the whole approach he's taken the last 2 years to preseason and training camp.
Interesting.
You don't. I mean, I give him credit for that, but I think we'll see a different approach next year. They'll probably try to get Jalen, who didn't play particularly well yesterday, in for more series during the preseason, as well as his offensive line and other positions.
Let me interrupt 1 second there. What do you think about this? Because he says maybe he should get a series next year, 2 series. Screw that. Play until the coach feels like you've gotten what you need to get out of that game without a number going in. Numbers are silly. They make no sense. Play until the rhythm is there. It probably won't be, but how do you feel about that?
That's a bingo. Absolutely right. Go ahead and play the game. When he decided not to play any of the starters all season long, I thought it was just despicable.
Yeah, and last year they got lucky. They only had 1 injury, Derek Barnett. So the risk-rust theory, you do it again, huh?
In his defense, every team now, I think 26 out of 32 teams, has joint practices now. Before they played, who was their second game against?
Last year, Detroit was their first.
This year.
Second preseason.
The preseason game, yeah.
Cleveland, yeah.
Yeah, they had 2 days of joint practices with Cleveland, so they feel they got more out of those 2 practices with regard to their starters and the reps they got than if they put them in the preseason game. So they sit them for the preseason game. The problem is you're not tackling to the ground in those joint practices, and that's where you saw that yesterday. Although with the Eagles, I mean their tackling was poor, a lot of missed tackles on key plays, and the Patriots, who played their guys a little bit more in the preseason, did a hell of a job tackling.
They did.
All right, Bubba, let me ask you this question, because Damo brought up the joint practices, which every team does now, usually in advance of a preseason game. The other team comes to your place, practices for a couple days. You played in the NFL, obviously. We didn't. Screw that, in my opinion. You get something out of it, but the competitive fire, that sweat, that competitive sweat isn't there. It's practice. It's not the same. We can't pretend it's the same. It may be better than a regular practice, but to me, joint practices are a whole lot of nothing compared to the actual competition that a game provides. Is
Paul,
that a fair
I couldn't agree with you more. If I had my brothers, I would absolutely want to play in those preseason games. and not the whole game, but I would like to play in at least a half a game and probably a couple of them for a half a game just to get my timing down a little bit because it's just not the same. It really isn't.
And you had plenty of chance to do that under Coach Vermeil, right?
Oh, absolutely.
6 games and
Yeah.
2-a-day practices in pads.
3 hours a day. Now they have. I think players are only allowed to be on the field for 4 hours total. I mean, you guys would go 6 hours regularly, right? 3 hour practices.
We sure would.
You weighed 250. What'd you weigh, about 180 at the end of practice? One of the guys that got a lot of grief, to me, they only got upset at one person yesterday, and not very upset at him because it was his first game. Sean Desai, I don't think knew what he wanted to do defensively, how aggressive he'd be with so many new pieces on defense. I thought the defense played pretty well. Brian Johnson, to me, was way too conservative. I know Domo doesn't feel the exact same way. He'll have his say as well. But Brian Johnson, what do you guys see out of him?
Well, I mean, my feeling is, I mean, he didn't have a perfect game. But, I mean, they drove down the field on that first drive. Belichick made some adjustments. But a lot of it was execution by his players. They went into a rut. I mean, you feel he should have attacked downfield
A little bit
early on. The problem is that was right at the top of Belichick's defense's list of things that we're not going to allow yesterday was the deep ball.
But should you be able to do that? I know every coach goes into every game with an offensive game plan, a defensive game plan, and there's certain things the defense doesn't want you to do. That doesn't mean you don't try to do them. See, I understand you don't want to turn the ball over. You don't want to play into the defense's hands. But you got to try to take what the defense doesn't want to give you as well as what they are willing to give you.
Second half, first half, they did not throw a pass longer than Jalen didn't throw a pass longer than 9 yards. Second half, 9 of them, and he only completed 3. So they tried that in the second half, did not work. I mean, they just did not play. Their offensive line was out of whack yesterday. Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata didn't play particularly well. I mean, it's just the one thing you got to take into account here is New England has a very good defense. You could say what you want about Mac Jones and their offense, but that is a very, very good defense, and at times they showed it yesterday.
Bubba, New England did something that I think is quite chivalrous yesterday. We heard that it was Tom Brady Day yesterday, got his number retired. And next year, believe it or not, they've taken the strange step of waiving the 5-year period to go into the team's Hall of Fame and saying, we're going to let Tom Brady in right away. Are they jumping the gun? Did he do enough to get into the team's Hall of Fame right away?
Heck yes. Heck yes. I mean, he has got a resume that nobody has in the NFL, and he is the GOAT. He is the greatest of all times, and I'll tell you what, if they're going to let anybody in early, it's got to be Tom Brady.
Yeah, Domo, you're on the Hall of Fame committee. If Tom Brady doesn't get in the first year and you're a quarterback, are you losing hope at that point?
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt he's going to get in.
Obviously. You have to kill multiple people, right?
Yeah.
Guys, here's a trivia question for you. I know Domo knows the answer, so, Bubba, this one's for you.
All right.
Dallas Goedert yesterday caught no balls. Jalen missed him a couple times when he was open. He didn't have a lot of plays called for him. Everybody's worried about it, blah, 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 blah. The good thing to me is all the stuff you're worried about, the Eagles have a chance to improve on, to clean up, as they say, which is a good thing. You won a game, and you're not walking around thinking you're all that. You'll clean it up. You get better. Last year, the defense didn't play very well in Week 1. They were 8-0 after Week 8. Dallas Goedert didn't catch a ball. Last year, Devontae Smith didn't catch a ball in the opener, and everybody said, what's wrong with Devontae Smith? Why aren't they going to him? Question is, Bubba, who set the Eagles' record for receptions in a season last year?
A.J. Brown.
Devontae Smith.
Really?
Who caught no balls in Week 1 and struggled to catch 95 in the other 16, Domo. In other words, don't worry about Dallas Goedert after Week 1. Agree?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they'll – yeah, the only problem I had yesterday was if you watched the tape in the fourth quarter, there were a couple times when he was wide open on deep balls, and Jalen had just made up his mind where he was going. I think it was both times it was to A.J. Brown. And he's got to. I mean, he's when Jalen watches the tape, he's gonna kick himself because he's gonna see that Dallas was open. But that's gonna happen. I mean, that's one of the reasons why when you can make those mistakes in week 1 and still win,
Yeah, Paul, and I think it goes back to them not playing in those exhibition games and getting your timing and all of that, and getting that togetherness with your receivers. I think that's got a lot to do with it. I really do.
All right, that's a lot of what happened in yesterday's game. We'll continue to talk about the Birds yesterday. The Vikings, a very short week this week. We'll talk about the Eagles in the short term, the long term, take a trip around the NFL, and much, much more with Paul Domowitch and our guest, Bill Bergey. We're so happy to be at the Great American Pub in Conshohocken. Joe Claiborne's here. What more can you say? Happy to be here. Happy to be here the whole year. We're back on the Monday Night Kickoff right after this.
Since 1991, the Great American Pub in Conshohocken has been offering an authentic and memorable experience for guests looking to dine in or enjoy the bar and nightlife. Located at 123 Fayette Street in Conshohocken, the Great American Pub has all your craft beer selections and some of the best food options anywhere. While you're there trying their buffalo chicken spring rolls or Maryland crab cakes, enjoy your favorite sporting events on their numerous televisions surrounding the bar. Visit them at 123 Fayette Street in Conshohocken or learn more online at thegreatamericanpub.com.
Millions of Americans are losing their medical assistance or Medicaid coverage. If this affects you, Independence Blue Cross can help. You may be eligible to enroll in a health plan for as little as $0 a month. With Independence Blue Cross, you get the largest provider network in the area, including most Keystone First doctors and hospitals. We also offer free 24/7 telemedicine, coverage for hospital stays and prescriptions. See if you qualify for $0 health insurance and enroll today. Call Independence Blue Cross at 1-844-464-2583 or visit ibx.com/staycovered.
A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700.
Football fans know who scored when, who sacked who. You could follow your money just as closely with Virtual Wallet from PNC. View spending by category and month, so you see where your money's going and when. You can even get email budget alerts. Know your spending like you know football. That's an achievement. Visit any PNC branch or PNCVirtualWallet.com. PNC Bank, for the achiever in you.
The PNC Financial Services Group Incorporated, all rights reserved. PNC Bank, National Association, FDIC.
There really is nothing like a home team advantage. That's why Team Toyota is the choice for your next vehicle purchase or service this season. With new Toyota models available for immediate delivery and over 100 certified used and pre-owned vehicles for any budget. Plus service specials to keep you on the road to victory. Shop or schedule online at teamtoyota.net or choose one of our 3 locations in Langhorne, Glen Mills, or Princeton. Are you part of the team?
If you're looking for a stylish and sophisticated fine dining experience, visit your Eddie V's Prime Seafood restaurant near King of Prussia. Eddie V's Seafood features an abundant selection of fine wines and curated cocktails to complement exquisite steaks and seafood made from the highest quality ingredients. In the V Lounge, sip on imaginative handcrafted cocktails with attitude while enjoying signature appetizers. Conveniently located between I-276 and I-76 near the King of Prussia Mall. Call them today, 610-337-7823 to schedule your night out for Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
We now return to the Great American Pub in Conshohocken for the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Domowitch and Paul Jolovitz.
And we're back here at the Monday Night Kickoff. Welcome back to our show here at the Great American Pub in Conshohocken. Don't forget, you can watch the show live at WBCBSports.com and YouTube Live by searching WBCB Sports. Got all kinds of people in the hall tonight. Josh Pearsall, the virtual mayor of Conshohocken. Sean Young, Mr. Maniac Eagle fan, seen with the shoulder pads, and many others. They watched yesterday a game, Damo, that brought up a question that sounds like a Supreme Court case, but isn't. Risk versus rust. Do you play your players in the preseason? Nick Sirianni talked about it afterwards. Rusty, Bill Belichick has said for many years, the first month of the regular season, has become the de facto preseason. You get guys hurt. The trade-off is you play sloppy and rusty the first couple weeks. It's obviously a trade-off. There's no right answer. Where do you stand on that?
Well, I mean, very soon we're going to be seeing them reduce it to 2 preseason games, which is going to even put more of a premium on, or it's going to turn those first regular season games into, but it's, they want to play 18 games, so that's what eventually will happen. 18 regular season games and two preseason games.
Is that fair, Bubba? 18 games?
Well, when I started out, we had 6 exhibition games.
Wow.
And then the Hall of Fame game, you would have 7. And now you got 1/3 of the season gone, and you got a regular season of 14 games. And let me tell you what, that was way, way overboard. But Paul, you say 2 games. I say 3 is the right number. Yeah. But go ahead and play your guys and let them get their timing down a little bit. And they don't have to play the whole game. And, Paul, you keep telling Jolovitz that you're going to get these players hurt. Hey, that's the nature of the game. That's just the way it is. And
you got to take some risk in
life.
life.
I mean, I went 13 years, and I had 1 knee injury, and that put me away. But, the nature of the game is you're going to get hurt, but you can't feed into that way of thinking.
Now, when you guys were playing 6 preseason games, how long did you play how long would Dick have you out there?
First play, the first 3 games, we would play the whole game. And then the last 3, he'd back off from us a little bit.
When's the next time you think we'll see that, Domo, in the NFL?
When hell freezes over?
Isn't it fascinating to you guys? It's fascinating to me that 24 hours ago, 30 hours ago, I guess, before the game started, Eagles hadn't played a game this season. We're wondering, how are they going to come out? What are they going to look like? Played 0 games. 3 days from now, the Eagles' season will be 1/8 of the way over. No ramping up in the NFL. No bad first month. Kick it in like the Phillies do, or hockey or basketball. 1/8 of the season over. A lot of teams at 0-2 are going to be panicking. Damo, this is a sprint, not a marathon, isn't it?
Yeah, and this game. Playing on a short week this quickly, I mean, their training staff is earning their money this week because they've got to get those guys able to recover in a very short time. I mean, clearly they're only going to have a walkthrough this week. They're not going to have anything strenuous other than some lifting and stuff to get their muscles back to working. But it's going to be a challenge.
Bubba, you played in an era, obviously, where there was no Thursday night football, although there was a Thanksgiving Day game. Did you ever play in one of those? Did you ever have to prepare for a game in 3 days? And if so, like Damo said, without real practice, what does that do to your body? What does that do to your preparation?
Well, I never did play on a Thursday game, but I think they ought to outlaw it. I don't think they ought to have it at all. To play on Sunday and give it your all, and then to play on Thursday, I think that's too much. I know that you, on the backside, get like 10 or 11 days off after that, but I wish they would just do away with the Thursday night games altogether.
Guys, there are 5 reasons they won't. You know those reasons?
Yeah.
Money.
That's it.
Once Amazon decided to empty their Jeff Bezos' wallet and pay them whatever they wanted.
Bill, if you could make money in the NFL playing Tuesday night at 4 in the morning, you could make $5, they would do that.
Well, Bill had to play. I mean, not only played those 6 games, but they were playing half of them in like Wilkes-Barre and Hazleton.
All over the place, yeah.
On high school stadiums with bad grass.
Yeah. Now, I got a question for you guys, and I want you to really think about this because I have the answer to it. Do the Dallas Cowboys, who are in our division, and the New York Giants, who are in our division...
Wait, both of them are in our division?
Yes.
Wow.
Is Dallas that good, or are the Giants that bad? And I got my answer.
I have no idea, Dama. What do you think?
Well, I mean, going by last year, the Giants were decent last year, and they added speed to their wide receiving core. I just think it was one of those games where you look at it and you say, Dallas is good, but they're not that good, and the Giants are not that bad. That somewhere in the middle is the truth, and we'll find out here in the next 3-4 weeks.
Paul, I'll tell you what. I think the Dallas Cowboys are that good,
Yeah.
and I think the
40-0 good.
Yes.
That good.
Yes, they are. The way that defense just did whatever they wanted to do to the New York Giants, and I'll tell you what, the Philadelphia Eagles better be really ready for the Dallas Cowboys this year.
I've asked you this, Bill, more than once. You've told me more than once. You told me in private, and I've asked you on the show a couple times. I think you guys will be fascinated by this if you haven't heard this before. You have said to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you would have rather never have played in the Super Bowl than played in the Super Bowl and lost.
That's right.
Tell everybody about that and the feeling
Well,
it is.
the thing of it is, there's so much hype for the Super Bowl game, and, you know, that's everybody's dream. But to go to the Super Bowl and get beat is the worst scenario there possibly is. I would have rather have not gone to the Super Bowl and never have played in it.
All right, Tom, well, the Eagles obviously coming off a Super Bowl loss. Well, I mean, we didn't play, obviously, but what's your point of view on that and how it's obviously tough to get back? History will tell you that. What are the Eagles players facing this year? How do they put that out of their mind and move forward?
Well, I mean, if you just go by the numbers of history in the salary cap era, I mean, just one team that's lost in the Super Bowl has gotten back there the following year. That was the Patriots after they lost to the Eagles in 2017. They went back and beat the Rams in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
It's win or lose in the Super Bowl, and Bill knows this. The next year is very tough. Mentally, physically, I mean, you're starting later. You don't get any rest until
you got the bullseye on your back too.
You got the target on your back, and also, when you've made it that far, the next year you just want to be able to snap your fingers and have it be January again, instead of having to do all the step-by-step, week-by-week work to get back there. And that's sometimes, I mean, some teams can't handle that.
How hard is it, Bubba?
Oh, it's really hard. As a matter of fact, when we got beat by the Super Bowl, I wanted to play one more year just in case we were that close. Yeah. We weren't that close. We were lucky that we got there. The bottom line is we all stayed very, very healthy, and that's what got us into the Super Bowl.
But you went the next year. You guys went 6-0 out of the gate, I think, and then that's kind of when reality hit. After that, you barely made the playoffs and lost to the Giants, if I'm correct, right in the wild card game.
I believe that's right.
Yeah,
Paul.
All right, Eagles play Thursday night. 4 days for the Birds, 3 for the Vikings. Justin Jefferson, another big game. T.J. Hawkinson could be a problem over the middle. A lot of things to quote-unquote clean up for Nick Sirianni, Damo. In the limited time the Eagles have, obviously you'd like to clean everything up and play perfectly. We know that's not going to happen. What's the main emphasis? What's the biggest thing that you want to make sure is better Thursday than it was yesterday?
Well, you want to get your offense into a position like they were last year when they led the league in point differential in the first half. I mean, they were by halftime, they had such a big lead, it just forced teams to play differently. Didn't matter if the Eagles weren't very good against the run last year because nobody could afford to run in the second half. Yeah. So I think that's what they want to do this week against Minnesota. They're playing against a defense that's not nearly as good as the one they faced this week. You got to believe Jalen's on a mission this week to play better than he did. So I think what they want to do this week is just be better offensively, build a big lead early, and force Minnesota to play catch up.
You mentioned the second quarter last year, or the first half. The Eagles had the big lead. Yesterday, obviously, to get ahead 16-0. Pretty much everybody here is thinking blowout City, USA, and then it throttles back. They played as bad a second quarter as you can play yesterday. Didn't score, didn't do anything. Is that a one-off, or would you expect the second quarter theatrics and the first half theatrics that we saw last year?
Well, you would hope that. I mean, they had 4 straight 3-and-outs. That's not a good recipe for winning games, regardless of whether it's in the second quarter, the first quarter. I got to believe. A lot of those drives. One of the drives, I think, that was a penalty killed it. So I don't think you'll see a lot of that. I mean, that's the mark of a bad offense, and this isn't a bad offense. I mean, the talent-wise, they've got. That line should be regarded as one of the best in the league, Jalen's proven himself. So I don't think we'll see that happen again, especially this week.
I think it's all about getting back to business.
Yeah.
They all know, or they're not professionals, they know that they got lucky that they won that game off of New England. They know that they didn't really play a very good game.
Yep.
So if they go back home with the attitude that, hey, let's make this right and let's get after it, that'll be okay then.
Yeah.
All right, when we come back, I'm going to ask you a question, Bill, that a lot of people will be interested to hear your answer to. Playing defense is partly physicality, partly the mental part of the game, and you got to be a salesman too. What am I talking about? You will find out when we return to the Great American Pub in Conshohocken with the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff. Come on, say hi to Bubba right after this.
Since 1991, the Great American Pub in Conshohocken has been offering an authentic and memorable experience for guests looking to dine in or enjoy the bar and nightlife. Located at 123 Fayette Street in Conshohocken, the Great American Pub has all your craft beer selections and some of the best food options anywhere. While you're there trying their buffalo chicken spring rolls or Maryland crab cakes, enjoy your favorite sporting events on their numerous televisions surrounding the bar. Visit them at 123 Fayette Street in Conshohocken or learn more online at thegreatamericanpub.com.
Millions of Americans are losing their medical assistance or Medicaid coverage. If this affects you, Independence Blue Cross can help. You may be eligible to enroll in a health plan for as little as $0 a month. With Independence Blue Cross, you get the largest provider network in the area, including most Keystone First doctors and hospitals. We also offer free 24/7 telemedicine, coverage for hospital stays and prescriptions. See if you qualify for $0 health insurance and enroll today. Call Independence Blue Cross at 1-844-464-2583 or visit ibx.com/staycovered.
A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700.
Football fans know who scored when, who sacked who. You could follow your money just as closely with Virtual Wallet from PNC. View spending by category and month, so you see where your money's going and when. You can even get email budget alerts. Know your spending like you know football. That's an achievement. Visit any PNC branch or PNCVirtualWallet.com. PNC Bank, for the achiever in you.
The PNC Financial Services Group Incorporated, all rights reserved. PNC Bank, National Association, FDIC.
There really is nothing like a home team advantage. That's why Team Toyota is the choice for your next vehicle purchase or service this season. With new Toyota models available for immediate delivery and over 100 certified used and pre-owned vehicles for any budget. Plus service specials to keep you on the road to victory. Shop or schedule online at teamtoyota.net or choose one of our 3 locations in Langhorne, Glen Mills, or Princeton. Are you part of the team?
If you're looking for a stylish and sophisticated fine dining experience, visit your Eddie V's Prime Seafood restaurant near King of Prussia. Eddie V's Seafood features an abundant selection of fine wines and curated cocktails to complement exquisite steaks and seafood made from the highest quality ingredients. In the V Lounge, sip on imaginative handcrafted cocktails with attitude while enjoying signature appetizers. Conveniently located between I-276 and I-76 near the King of Prussia Mall. Call them today, 610-337-7823 to schedule your night out for Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
We now return to the Great American Pub in Conshohocken for the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Domowitch and Paul Jolovitz.
All righty, welcome back to the Great American Pub in Conshohocken. We will be here Monday nights throughout the season, every Monday 6 to 7, Domo, except when the Eagles play on Monday night, like in 2 weeks at Tampa Bay, at which point we'll be here Tuesday night. We'd love you to come out and see us. Great food at the pub. Guy, the chef, is unbelievable. Tremendous hospitality, tremendous atmosphere. And, Bubba, that leads to my next question about tremendous. Whenever somebody makes a big play in the NFL these days, the fans of the team made the big player cheering. The fans of the other player looking. What are they looking for? Laundry on the football field. I hope this is called back. Yesterday we saw a couple second-level holding penalties against both teams that brought plays back. You were held 1,000,000 times in your career. My college roommate, John, was an offensive tackle at Penn, said he held on every play. What's the best way to sell an umpire, a referee, the umpire back in the secondary? that you were held? Because if you're held on every play, they don't call it on every play. What's the key to that?
Well, you can just bitch as much as you want, and you can get right in their face. And, you know, they're always saying, I'm being held, but the official, they're just going to call what they want to call and leave it at that, really.
How do you get out of that, Domo?
Well, I mean, you kind of, you know, I've talked to players that have kind of tried to talk to the officials before the game.
Diving help?
And kind of get it, you know, and if they know somebody's going to be doing it a lot, they kind of give them, keep an eye on this guy. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
All right, stuff worked for teams around the NFL yesterday. Stuff didn't work. One thing that caught my eye right away, and we were actually talking about the pub here at lunch the other day, Kadarius Toney killed the Eagles last year with a big punt return in the Super Bowl. He was a giant. He went to the Chiefs. He's still a Chief. He may not be a Chief in a couple more weeks, Damo, after dropping 35 passes, it seemed like, Thursday night. Why couldn't you drop the punt in the Super Bowl instead of all those passes?
Yeah, Eagles fans certainly would have liked it a lot better.
Yep. Bubba, the Lions, are they for real after Thursday night?
You know something? They are making me a believer. They really are. They look good. You know, whenever they can beat the world champions, even though Travis Kelce didn't play, and I guess they had a defensive lineman that didn't play.
Chris Jones, who signed today, by the way.
Yeah. Anyhow, I think that's got to kind of raise your eyebrows a little bit. I thought Detroit really played a real good ball game against Kansas City.
Their defense is improved. I mean, they spent the offseason improving that defense.
Yep.
You know, so that's helped. And, you know, Jared Goff is an underrated quarterback. You know, I mean, everybody thought the Eagles got the best of the 2016 draft when they took Wentz after the Goff went. But Goff is, you know, he finished strong last year, 15 touchdowns, I think 0 interceptions in their last 9 games.
Third longest streak in NFL history.
Yeah, and, you know, I mean, that's a playoff team in my mind.
All right, well, the Chiefs have a toughie going to Jacksonville week 2. Obviously, anybody that's 0-1 facing 0-2. Is Andy Reid panicking at this point? He's signed Chris Jones. You hope Travis Kelce can be back. How does a team that's 0-1 going against a hot young team like Jacksonville avoid going 0-2? Because it's become a problem in the NFL.
Well, I mean, they've got to play better. I mean, I don't think Andy's been around too long to panic, so I think they'll be fine. I mean, that's still, in my mind, the best team in the AFC.
Bubba, you come from Buffalo, basically.
Right.
You come from near Buffalo. You went to college at Arkansas State, played with the Eagles, and for the last 90 years since your retirement, you've been living a wonderful life in Chester County. What do the Bills have to do tonight? Bills, to me, are waiting to fall. The expectations are huge. The division's good. Sean McDermott's terrific. What do you think of Josh Allen? I think Josh Allen takes way too many chances, and I think unless Josh Allen can throttle it back, the Bills are in for a rough year.
I'm waiting for Josh Allen to go down and have a career-ending injury one of these days with all the stuff he does. But, you know, I was telling one of the people here tonight that there were 28 teams in the NFL when I was being drafted. I got in touch with 27 of the 28 teams, and they gave me questionnaires. They called me, would you like to come and play with us? I was 44 miles away from Buffalo, the stadium, and the Buffalo Bills was the only team that never got in touch with me.
Really?
When I was being hustled out of college.
Strange. Domo, the Bills ever call you? They never called me either.
No, I never got a call from them.
All right, Domo, if I said to you, which I'm going to say, give me 1 or 2 things or 3 that either surprised you or got under your radar that happened yesterday in the NFL, either something that didn't happen, lost, won, whatever it is, injuries, whatever comes to mind.
Well, I mean, you got to start with the Bengals getting blown out. I mean, you know, that's the they're one of the top 3 teams in the league, and to lose that convincingly, I forget what Joe Burrow's numbers were, something like
82
yards.
Yeah, 82.
14 for 31. I mean, that's just unheard of.
You think they bench him?
But, hey, their problem now is the same problem they've had for the last 2 years. They've gotten the line in front of Joe Burrow stinks. And if you can't protect him, I mean, he's overcome it to get them as far as they have the last 2 years, along with a good defense. But, I mean, that line's just got to be better. I mean, it's just such an important part of football.
Paul, I know how hard it is to get a goose egg, no points with your opponents in a football game. And for the New York Giants to be playing at home and not getting a score at all and not even coming close to it, I thought that was a biggie right there. That's why I was saying, surely the Dallas Cowboys have got to be a great team. A team that you have to beat.
Well, it's interesting because obviously the Giants aren't as bad as they were. It's hard to think the Cowboys were as good as they were. But there's a lot of questions, guys. Mahomes, Burrow, Jalen Hurts, these guys all signed huge deals in the offseason. Everybody becomes the highest-paid quarterback, making $3 more than the other guy when they sign. Meanwhile, the Giants signed Daniel Jones, a guy that's too good to just let go, not good enough to give the ridiculous money to. They gave him $160 million. He can run. He's mobile. He can be good. He's got a questionable offensive line. Last night, not good, but the whole team wasn't good. Where's Daniel Jones in your opinion, Damo?
Well, you're right. You're kind of caught in the middle with him. I mean, he's not a guy you say is a franchise quarterback, but he can do things that can win games. I mean, and a big part of his makeup is the same thing that's a big part of Jalen Hurts' makeup and a lot of quarterbacks now is the fact that he can run. You know, you saw that early in the game yesterday before that blocked field goal. He had a nice run. I mean, I think they can win with Daniel Jones. That they need to improve their line. He's got receivers now. I don't think yesterday was indicative of what the Giants are.
But when you're playing a quarterback that you know is not a great quarterback, that you know you can take advantage of, did most of the defense coordinators you played for game plan specifically against that guy and to go after him?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And let me tell you what, these quarterbacks, you're absolutely right, Paul. What is it, Burrow that just signed a contract for $275 million?
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, back in 1976, I was the highest paid defensive player in the NFL.
And what was your contract for?
It was for 4 years, $1 million.
Wow.
And let me tell you what,
Inflation?
it made the front page of every newspaper in the country, and people were saying, what the hell is this game coming to?
Yeah. And Damo, these days, it's not necessarily about the total money. It's about the guaranteed money. A quarterback, we see it with Jalen Hurts. We've seen it with everybody that's signed. You know the deal.
Yeah.
But you can really hamstring your team. It's hard to get back to a Super Bowl because when you do, the good players on your team want new contracts. Those new contracts add up to more than the salary cap. You start releasing guys. How hard is it for a Howie Roseman or any GM to kind of plug that in and do what he has with the Eagles roster?
Well, the cap is going up so much every year that it's made managing the cap a lot easier than back in the days in the early 2000s when you really had to figure out how you couldn't overpay anybody. And what you saw when they signed Jalen Hurts, a lot of his cap does not go up for a couple of years.
It's nothing this year, $1.3 million.
Right, and next year too. And by the time it does jump to 30 and 40 million, they'll just restructure his deal at that point. That's kind of the Cowboys are in a tough situation because, Dak Prescott's got 1 year left after this year. His cap goes up to $59 million next year. He's not going to want to restructure that deal because he doesn't know whether they're going to keep him. They don't, because he doesn't. They traded for Trey Lance, so the Cowboys next year are going to be in a kind of a tricky situation with Dak because of his salary cap.
All right, Bubba, when we come back, I want to swear you in, first of all. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Absolutely.
I'm going to ask you the question that everybody here wants to know, that I want to know, that a lot of people want to know. about the NFL. I'm going to ask you, too, when we come back, we're going to talk about Jalen Hurts, what he has to do differently this week. Thursday night game against the Vikings. Eagles 7.5-point favorites. Back with the final segment of the Monday Night Kickoff from the Great American Pub in Conshohocken right after this.
Since 1991, the Great American Pub in Conshohocken has been offering an authentic and memorable experience for guests looking to dine in or enjoy the bar and nightlife. Located at 123 Fayette Street in Conshohocken, the Great American Pub has all your craft beer selections and some of the best food options anywhere. While you're there trying their buffalo chicken spring rolls or Maryland crab cakes, enjoy your favorite sporting events on their numerous televisions surrounding the bar. Visit them at 123 Fayette Street in Conshohocken or learn more online at thegreatamericanpub.com.
Millions of Americans are losing their medical assistance or Medicaid coverage. If this affects you, Independence Blue Cross can help. You may be eligible to enroll in a health plan for as little as $0 a month. With Independence Blue Cross, you get the largest provider network in the area, including most Keystone First doctors and hospitals. We also offer free 24/7 telemedicine, coverage for hospital stays and prescriptions. See if you qualify for $0 health insurance and enroll today. Call Independence Blue Cross at 1-844-464-2583 or visit ibx.com/staycovered.
A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700.
Football fans know who scored when, who sacked who. You could follow your money just as closely with Virtual Wallet from PNC. View spending by category and month, so you see where your money's going and when. You can even get email budget alerts. Know your spending like you know football. That's an achievement. Visit any PNC branch or PNCVirtualWallet.com. PNC Bank, for the achiever in you.
The PNC Financial Services Group Incorporated, all rights reserved. PNC Bank, National Association, FDIC.
There really is nothing like a home team advantage. That's why Team Toyota is the choice for your next vehicle purchase or service this season. With new Toyota models available for immediate delivery and over 100 certified used and pre-owned vehicles for any budget. Plus service specials to keep you on the road to victory. Shop or schedule online at teamtoyota.net or choose one of our 3 locations in Langhorne, Glen Mills, or Princeton. Are you part of the team?
If you're looking for a stylish and sophisticated fine dining experience, visit your Eddie V's Prime Seafood restaurant near King of Prussia. Eddie V's Seafood features an abundant selection of fine wines and curated cocktails to complement exquisite steaks and seafood made from the highest quality ingredients. In the V Lounge, sip on imaginative handcrafted cocktails with attitude while enjoying signature appetizers. Conveniently located between I-276 and I-76 near the King of Prussia Mall. Call them today, 610-337-7823 to schedule your night out for Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
We now return to the Great American Pub in Conshohocken for the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Domowitch and Paul Jolovitz.
All righty, back at the Great American Pub. Next week, by the way, our guest will be former Eagle linebacker Mike Reichenbach, Bubba.
Yeah.
Another linebacker, that falling position, played middle linebacker under Buddy Ryan. And I want to ask you a question relative to the linebacker position. You were a fearsome guy when you played. Nobody wanted to run into number 66. Excuse me. You always hear about people talking about we got to get their quarterback out of the game, that nobody hits people to injure, but you want to hit them hard. You can take the fifth if you want to, because I don't want to out you in any way, but when you were playing and what you know about other players on the Eagles and other teams, do people hit to hurt in the NFL, or do you hit hard, and if people get hurt, they get hurt?
That's a good question. When I would hit a quarterback, I would want to hit him, not to hurt him, but I would want to hit him so he knew that I had arrived there, and I would love to see him get up very slowly and kind of waddle back to the huddle. But as far as intentionally hurting anybody, absolutely not.
No going for the knees, no going for the head, right?
No, never.
Right. You think that exists in the NFL? I mean, it obviously does, but do you think there's a preponderance of it these days?
Oh, yeah. And when I had my knee injury, I can remember linemen, instead of blocking me high, they would go for my knee, and it used to drive me crazy. And they intentionally wanted to hurt me again. But that's the way some people are, and then some people just want to play the game the way it's really supposed to be played.
Well, you remember, I mean, it hadn't been that long ago when Sean Payton was suspended for a year.
Yep.
For, for letting that happen. We had Buddy Ryan in this town, so yeah, there's been many instances of players and coaches that want to see people get hurt.
What about our friend Mr. Payton? First game with Denver, he did it in the Super Bowl. It did work at halftime. Didn't work to start the game yesterday with the onside kick. The question isn't about Sean Payton, who's clearly a good coach. The whole thing with Wilson, we'll see how that plays out this year. Is Sean Payton an egomaniac, Damo? Does he want you to say that was Sean Payton that did that, or is he coaching to win games? Obviously he is, but how much does ego factor in?
I'm not a big Sean Payton fan. Don't like him. He's blamed NFL Films for getting him suspended because their cameras caught a lot of what he said on the sidelines.
And Greg Williams too.
That doesn't seem to understand that he said it. Doesn't matter whether a camera caught it. He's just not he's not a good guy. Let's put it that way.
Bob, it's interesting what Damo just said. In certain sports, basketball, you say one word to the ref, you're gone. You say one word to the umpire, you're gone. In baseball, football, you can pretty much say anything you want, right?
Yeah, you can really unload on them if you want to.
Yeah. And you almost never, I mean, at some point you're going to get a flag for something, but did you ever go totally crazy on a ref? The other team, you can trash talk whatever you want to, right?
No, you know how far you can go with a referee, and if you start using the bad four-letter nasty words, that's when you're really in trouble.
I remember I read in the paper, my wife Amy told me that she read an article in the paper where once you got beat on a touchdown pass and you went to the other quarterback and said, "Gosh, that was unbelievable, sir. You really did a good job." True or not true?
Not true.
Not true. All right, Dama, we got a quarterback that has to get better. Obviously, we know about Jalen, his new contract, his ability. This has to do with how the Eagles use him. Brian Johnson and Nick Sirianni have said, we don't want to get our quarterback hurt, but we want him to run less. He ran 13 times a game last year. To me, you have to be who you are. When you start being who you're not, that's when you get hurt. Obviously, running a bunch of times, scrambling, I think some plays were in to try to discourage that. If you do something that's not who you are, you got a problem. How does that discrepancy fix within yourself?
Well, I mean, Jalen, that's part of his DNA. I don't think they want him to run. They want him to run smarter, take less of a pounding, and he's fairly smart. He took that big hit against Chicago last year, which was the one that caused the problems at the end of the season. Yep. But I mean, he had 165 rush attempts last year, which I believe was the most of any quarterback. But a lot of them were those quarterback sneaks, which aren't very dangerous. A lot were also kneel downs. Yeah, he just needs to be smarter. Yesterday you saw him just put his head down on a couple of them. Yesterday what we saw was.
What about the fumble, the big hit? I mean, that's going to happen.
Yeah, you're right. That's going to happen. I don't fault him for that run. It was clear yesterday that part of Belichick's game plan was stopping him from running. He had very seldom had an open lane to run. There usually was a safety or linebacker right there to shut him down. They felt it's going to be interesting to see how that goes as they play other teams, to see what they do to defend Jalen's running, because it's such an important part of their success.
All right, Bubba, speaking of defending, Nakobe Dean's out for a few weeks. He wears a green dot on his helmet. That doesn't mean he has a Magnavox TV. It means he calls the defensive signals. And now you're without the guy who calls the defensive signals. Your other linebacker's been with the team a couple months. You've signed somebody. You have Ellis here. Is that going to be a problem, calling defensive signals with inexperience, the checks you have to make before a play? Is that something we need to worry about?
Not really. Not really.
Why not?
Because a player is a pro, and they know what to call and what not to call. I used to do the calling myself out on the field, and I got to the point where I thought it was taken away from my aggressiveness. So I went to Marion Campbell and I said, Can you have John Bunning or somebody else make the adjustments on the field defensively? And he did, and that really helped me out an awful lot.
All right, Tom, what do you think about that, about the green dot thing?
Yeah, it's not going to be a big deal. I mean, Christian Ellis is, I like him a lot. I mean, Nakobe Dean, they're gonna miss him for 2, 3, 4 weeks, but
at least 4 with injured reserve.
Well,
Not officially, but they're going to supposedly.
I mean, today Nick Sirianni said he's going to miss at least a couple of weeks, which makes me think that they're reluctant to put him on injured reserve if they think they can get it back that quickly. So, he's very instinctive. I mean, more so. I mean, the play calling, that's a non-factor. What's a factor is just how good Nakobe Dean is. I mean, he's a downhill guy that you saw him make some plays yesterday that were pretty impressive.
All right, guys, today we have the Bills and the Jets, Monday Night Football. Some new quarterback is playing for the Jets. I don't remember his name. Played with the Packers the last couple of years, where Jordan Love was terrific yesterday. Aaron Rodgers starts his New York career. We've seen him on Hard Knocks. We've seen him at every event in New York the last couple months, every Broadway show, every sporting event. Now, the one place he hasn't been, the football field. What do you expect from the Jets? They got huge expectations. Can they fulfill it, Damo?
Yeah, I mean, I think they already had one of the best defenses in the league. Their offense just needed somebody at quarterback, and he's still got a lot left. I mean, I think this is a Super Bowl contender with him at the helm if he stays healthy. Anybody that did not see Hard Knocks needs to see it. You saw a different Aaron Rodgers. I mean, it was shocking. I mean, he seemed to be wanting to do a complete overhaul to his PR image. Just was a different Aaron, very team-oriented. I mean, I think this is a team that – I mean, I think they're going to win tonight.
Bob, are you an Aaron Rodgers fan?
Not really. Not really. I'm not a fan of any quarterback that's on the other team. But
spoken as a true linebacker.
I got a feeling the Buffalo Bills are going to win this game. I know they got a great defense. I know they've added Aaron Rodgers. Well, I think when it comes right down to it, I think that Buffalo and Josh Allen are going to find a way to win the game.
Oh, we only got a minute or so, guys. Just to throw this out there, I don't know if you realize this. DeMar Hamlin not going to play tonight. Not because of anything about the heart condition. He just didn't make it into the top 5 or 6 DBs that they're going to suit up. A lot of Americans can be disappointed, but just to have him back on the roster, he played in all 3 preseason games, is a friggin' miracle, Damo, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's tremendous. It's the game. Something like that happened when Bill was playing. I mean, he wouldn't have survived. There wouldn't be the machine wouldn't have been there to help.
Well, Chuck Hughes had it happen to him.
Yeah.
Lions wide receiver.
Yeah. Former Eagle.
Yep. All right, guys, that's going to do it. Bills and the Jets tonight. Eagles and the Vikings Thursday night. Eagles now down to 7-point favorites. We will be here next Monday night at the Great American Pub with Mike Reichenbach. Bubba, thank you so much for being here. Continued good health.
Thank you.
Damo, great opening voyage. Thank you so much.
Been another great time to be here with you.
There we are. Thanks to everybody that had anything to do with this show. Thanks to producer Chris Hermer, all the nice people that came out here to the Great American Pub. Eagles 1-0. Look for 2-0. See you next Monday night on Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff. For Paul Domowitch, I'm Paul Jolovitz.